This is a Squiz podcast. We're your shortcut to being informed.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.
Hello and welcome to Squiz Kids, your fresh take on what's happening in the world around you. I'm Bryce Corbett. It's Tuesday, June 1. Pinch and a punch. In Squiz Kids today, sea rescue in WA. Adelaide's big chill. Origin heads to Townsville, and a teacher the fastest to climb Everest. That's what's making news, kids style.
The Lowdown.
There was drama at sea off the coast of Western Australia yesterday after an 11-year-old girl and her dad were forced to swim almost 10 kilometres after their yacht ran into a reef and fell apart. The girl and her dad were thrown overboard when a wave hit the yacht they were sailing in, which had become stuck on a reef about 200 kilometres north of Perth. Luckily, all of the passengers on board the yacht were wearing life jackets, and one of them was wearing an EPIRB, which is a safety device that sends a signal to a satellite and alerts rescue services that someone is in trouble. It took rescuers 2 hours to find the 11-year-old girl and her father, by which time they had swum an extraordinary 5 nautical miles, which is the equivalent of almost 10 kilometres. Wow. Both dad and daughter were exhausted, and both were sporting injuries, so had to be taken to hospital where last night they were recovering. What a pair of legends, and how good are helicopter rescuers and life jackets. Do you live in or around Renmark in South Australia? And did you find it even a little bit hard to get out of bed yesterday morning? Well, that's probably got something to do with the fact that the temperature there was -5 degrees at 7 a.m, making it the coldest May morning on record. Nuri Upta managed a barely human 0 degrees, while nearby residents of Adelaide would have been cranking up the heating too, with the mercury there barely reaching 7 degrees. I have 2 words for you people: Ugg boots.
Spin the globe.
Each day we give the world globe a spin and find a news story from wherever it stops. And today we've landed in South Korea, where food waste is being recycled and turned into chicken pellets and biofuels. Huge amounts of food are wasted every day in every country around the planet. Just think of the food that gets prepared but ends up in the bin at your school or restaurants or at home. The South Koreans have passed a law making it illegal to throw out food waste. Instead, restaurant owners and householders are made to separate their food waste from other rubbish. A special truck comes to collect it, and it's taken away and turned into food for livestock, like chickens, or even into biofuels. One example of a biofuel is ethanol, which goes into some petrols that we put into our cars. Amazing, huh? Before South Korea introduced the food waste laws, it used to go into landfill. And when the food waste rotted, it created methane gas, which is a greenhouse gas, and that causes global warming. These days, it's estimated that 95% of food waste in South Korea is recycled. Props to you, South Korea. There's a link to a video of how it's done in today's episode notes.
Sport time.
Mate versus mate, state versus state, and it's all going to happen in sunny Queensland. After the coronavirus went and ruined rugby league's plans to hold the first State of Origin in Melbourne next Wednesday night, organisers have changed venues and decided to stage it in Townsville instead. And the locals there couldn't be more excited. The New South Wales Blues are apparently spitting chips that the venue change means the Queensland Maroons will have home ground advantage. Meanwhile, every rugby league fan in Queensland is watching key player Kalen Ponga's groin, hoping it will be in a fit state to take to the field in a week's time. These are the big questions of our time, friends.
Biggest, furthest, longest.
And today we pay our respects to Hong Kong teacher Sang Yin Hung, who became the fastest woman to ever climb Mount Everest last weekend. Climbing from base camp to the summit of the world's highest mountain in 25 hours and 50 minutes. Ms. Sang beat the previous record holder by more than 12 hours, which is frankly remarkable. "When you aim high, expect high," she said after her record-breaking climb. I think there's something in that for all of us.
My lockdown life.
In this segment, running all this week, we're asking the kids of Victoria to tell us about life in lockdown, answering the 5 questions we've set for them. On Friday, we'll have a special bonus episode featuring their funny, moving, and all-round amazing answers. But today, we have a sneak peek of some of the answers we've gotten to question 2. Namely, if you could talk to the coronavirus, what would you say to it?
If I could talk to the coronavirus, I would say, you've been here long enough and now it's time to go. I'd say, hi coronavirus, I don't like you. Can you get out of the world, go to Mars, because there's no one on there. I'd get angry at it because I don't like coronavirus and it's not helping the economy or world.
I would say to it, go down.
I would say to it, stop making lockdowns. It is extremely annoying.
Yes, you're right. It is annoying. And a huge shout out to our featured lockdown kids today, 7-year-old Penny from Kilmore, Isla, who is in Year 4 at Blackburn Primary, Molly, aged 5 of Coburg, and Ardal, 9 of Kilmore, for today's sneak peek. Have you got something that you think the coronavirus should hear? Well, it's not too late, if you're a Victorian Squiz Kid, to share a snippet of your lockdown life. We've stuck the 5 questions we want you to answer in today's episode notes. Just record yourself answering them and email the audio file through to squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. What a great thing to do in lockdown. Much better than starting another Netflix series. Attention school principals. Squiz Kids needs you. We talk to a lot of Squiz Kids and their excellent parents, carers and classroom teachers every day. But we have some really important questions that we need to put to school principals that will help us make Squiz Kids bigger and better. So, if you're a school principal and you think Squiz Kids is a valuable resource for your students and teachers, please get in touch with us directly by emailing squizkids@thesquiz.com.au with your name, your school, and a contact number. And if you're a parent or a teacher who loves Squiz Kids and knows a school principal, please give them a nudge to drop us a line. It's really important and we'd really appreciate it. Thanks.
Time for the quiz.
This is the part of the podcast where you get to test how well you've been listening. Question number 1. Off the coast of which state of Australia did a dramatic sea rescue take place yesterday? That's right, it was Western Australia. Question number 2. Where is the first State of Origin game going to be held? Yeah, it's Townsville. Question number 3. What's the name of the world's highest mountain? It's Mount Everest.
Shout-outs.
It's June 1, World Milk Day, celebrating milk as an important food right around the world. Sounds to me like a perfect excuse to hit mum or dad up for a milkshake on the way home from school today. It's also a special day for these Squiz Kids celebrating a birthday today. Adam from Abbotsford, Joseph Donald from Maitland, Mason from Pimpamar, Jarvis from the Gold Coast, Marcus from Williamstown, Lucy from Kyalite, and Sophia from Sydney. And some belated birthday shout-outs today to Alex from North Perth and Christian and Lachlan from Forest Lake. And today's classroom shout-outs go to Ms. Daly and 3P and all of the Year 3 kids at Williamstown North Primary School, Mrs. Singleton's Class 4 Smith at Roselle Public School, 45BG at Woodhill State School, and Class 34E at Mariong Public School. Don't forget, if you've got a birthday coming up and you'll want a shout-out, or if you're after a classroom shout-out, drop us a line at squizkids@thesquiz.com.au. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for listening to Squiz Kids. We'll be back again tomorrow. In the meantime, get out there and have a most excellent day. Over and out. Squiz Kids is proudly supported by the Judith Neilson Institute for Journalism and Ideas.
Squiz Kids!
It's your daily news fix. Fun, free, fresh.